Thanks, Tim. Thanks for the introduction. Can we go to the next slide, please? Next slide. There we go. So here at Wellnex, we're a brand and product innovator that we're operating totally focused on the fast-growing health and wellness market, which is worth circa $10.7 billion in Australia. Next slide. The market has been driven by retailers and consumers looking for product innovation, and there's been a particular focus now on consumers looking for preventative solutions over your traditional treatments. And what COVID-19 has done is that consumers now have had their health in their front and center in their thoughts, and we're finding that more of their disposable income is being spent in this market. And one of the most exciting segments, and probably the biggest development in the health and wellness space, is medicinal cannabis, where the TGA has allowed for the first time that you can go to a pharmacy and obtain a medicinal cannabis product without a doctor's prescription. And globally, this industry is worth about US $13 billion, and it's expected to grow to about $56 billion by 2028. Next slide, please. Well, our key strategic advantage is that we're able to pick up on consumer and retailer trends and then create innovative brands and products to meet these trends. And we are then able to bring brands and products to market, or be first or fast to market with these brands and products. That gives us first mover advantage. And this is really due to all of our vast experience and contacts that enables us to obtain regulatory approvals efficiently, being able to produce products in a timely and cost-effective manner, and having all the distribution networks established. Next slide, please. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about our business model. And our business model consists of two main business units, one being the sale of our innovative brands through our established distribution networks. And we currently have around 8 brands that are or about to be available in the market. And the second part of the business is where we're getting really, really fast traction is our contract manufacturing. And this is where we make our registered products available to third parties. And then we have secured supply agreements with well-renowned companies like GSK, Chemist Warehouse, and Arotex to supply them with one of our innovative products for their particular brands. Next slide, please. What's also unique about us is that we've got a very established distribution network that covers all the tier 1 retailers in the health and wellness space. And this accounts for about 90% of the domestic health and wellness market. And it's what I'm really proud of here at Wellnex is that to date, we have not actually launched a brand or product that has not achieved distribution in one of these tier 1 retailers that you can see on this slide. And it both covers both the pharmacy channels and the grocery channels. Next slide, please. And what this means, putting this all together, we've seen some significant growth in our brands over a short period of time. Some increase between 130 and 190% growth in sales in the 8 months since we've listed them. So we're seeing the success of our model, and we're seeing our distribution channels are working and achieving great results for the company. Next slide, please. But as I mentioned before, probably the biggest development and one of our key focuses here at Wellnex is the medicinal cannabis space, and in particularly being made available as an S3 product, which effectively means for the first time you can go and obtain a medical cannabis product without a doctor's prescription straight from your pharmacist. And this is an absolute game changer for this market. And here at Wellnex, we're aiming to be one of the first companies to obtain an S3 registration for a medicinal cannabis product. Next slide, please. Now, we will be one of the first to bring a product to market because we've got a long history here of obtaining S3 approvals for other medicines. And also, probably about a month ago, we announced a very crucial JV to enter this market with One Life Botanicals. And what this does, it gives us access to one of the few state-of-the-art registered manufacturing facilities for medicinal cannabis in Australia. And this will ensure continuous supply of high-quality medicinal cannabis product at a very competitive price. And then lastly, we have the established distribution network through the pharmacy channels that will ensure our products are ranged in all major pharmacy retailers. And there is some estimations of this market, the S3 space, to be worth around $3 billion by 2025. So it's a very significant market and something that we're putting a lot of focus on to crack. And to give us a little bit of example, next slide, sorry, please. To give you a little bit of example on how we're going to go about the medicinal cannabis journey is this case study on Wagner Liquid G6. So this is a joint venture brand with Chemist Warehouse, and this brand brought out Australia's first liquid paracetamol in a soft gel. And what we found was that consumers wanted a faster form of pain relief. Consumers were prepared to pay a premium for this product. And this is very similar to medicinal cannabis. We know medicinal cannabis works for many different ailments, including pain, and consumers, if they get that relief, will pay a premium for this product. So our technical team sourced Australia's first liquid paracetamol in a soft gel, and that's what we want to do with medicinal cannabis. We want to have the first product under the S3 scheme into the Australian market. And what we did, we presented that product to the domestic market, and Chemist Warehouse were so enthused about this product development that they actually asked us to form a joint venture with them to last the birth of Wagner Health Liquid G6. Next slide, please. And what the outcome of that is that we've got the first TGA approved soft gel liquid paracetamol product to the Australian market. We commenced ranging in October 2021, and our sales are up 61% in the 6 months to July 2022. And we're actually extending the product offering under that brand, and potentially even putting the medicinal cannabis product under that joint venture brand with Chemist Warehouse. But what's really important, and this is what's going to also be for the medicinal cannabis project, is that even though we formed a joint venture with Chemist Warehouse for Wagner Health Liquid G6, all the IP associated with the product is the 100% the property of Wellnex. So from that one product, we actually deriving 4 different revenue streams through Wagner Health Liquid G6. The product will be going into a new brand called Pharmacy Owned, but we also supply that product to GSK and Arotex for their brands as well. So it's been a very lucrative launch, and just shows that when you do innovate a new unique product, there are multiple ways you can derive your different revenue streams from. And this is what we believe will happen with medicinal cannabis. Not only will we be providing it for our own brands, there'll be other opportunities to work with other large pharmaceutical companies like GSK to be able to give them access to the product that we've developed. Next slide, please. And I think the numbers speak for themselves on the way we do business here, and the growth that we've achieved over a very short period of time, from $6.7 million in financial year 18 to a budgeted revenue of $29 million for financial year 23. And after the first quarter we have had for financial year 23, we're up about 72%. So we're ahead of budget to achieve that $29 million. So as we sit here today, we're very confident that we'll actually beat that guidance of $29 million for this financial year. But also what's really important is a lot of that revenue is now being derived from our own brands, which gives us the highest margins, which is going to get the company to a profitable position in the not too distant future. So it's really exciting times for Wellnex. Next slide, please. So this is our core competencies, is that we can identify consumer and retailer trends. We innovate brands and products and use our extensive network of manufacturers and suppliers so we can bring to market quickly innovative products and brands that both the retailer and consumers are wanting. The target market is the fast-growing health and wellness market, and in particular, the massive opportunity in the S3 medicinal cannabis market. That's going to be, like I said, the biggest development for this segment. And the strategy is to leverage all our key retailers and manufacturing partners to keep growing our brands that bring higher margins, including the new medicinal cannabis opportunity. Next slide, please. While our revenue's been growing and we've been busy here at Wellnex, we've got some really exciting events coming up for the remainder of this financial year. Last week, we announced the acquisition of a teeth whitening brand called Mr. Bright. That's giving us revenue around $4 million and an EBITDA of around $800,000 per annum. The exciting part of that acquisition is it's got very minimal domestic retail presence. So using our distribution networks, we think we can grow that brand really, really quickly and increase both its revenue and its profitability. Next week, we'll be launching to the Australian market Australia's first organic A2 infant formula brand under Ocean Road Dairies and Chemist Warehouse. And that'll be the first organic A2 infant formula using all Australian milk. As of today, we launched Mark Wahlberg's Performance Inspired Sports Supplement brand. That's available through all the Chemist Warehouse network, around 500 stores. And you can actually go online today for the first day and actually order that product. In November, we'll be launching a new e-commerce platform. Currently, all our revenues derive from offline. We haven't got any online presence, and this will resolve that. And also we'll be launching a new online brand that will only be available on this particular platform. Good thing about that launch, again, very healthy margins of around 65 to 70%. So that's going to be a really pivotal launch for the company. Also, towards the end of this year, we'll be launching a new medicinal cannabis product under the SAS scheme. Basically, the SAS scheme is where you can go to your doctor, get a prescription, and then you can go get that dispensed at a pharmacy. We'll be entering that market in December. That market's worth about $400 to $500 million per annum currently in Australia. And that's all because of our joint venture with One Life Botanicals, that can actually provide us product that we can sell into the market. And in the meantime, we're going to be looking at continuing to organically grow our brands and look for other contract manufacturing opportunities that are arising at the moment. We're actually in some discussions at the moment about expanding some current opportunities that we have with the likes of GSK and Chemist Warehouse. So on that note, I'll pass it back to you, Tim.
Thanks, George. Thanks for the update. You've come a long way.
Yes.
Now, Chemist Warehouse, can you talk about that relationship? It's obviously a very strong relationship. So with something like your medicinal cannabis product, is that something you've got an open-ended agreement that can be, distributed across their network? How does that all work?
So yes, thanks. Good question. So, well, I talk a lot about Chemist Warehouse, and I mean, they are the biggest player in the health and wellness space. They do about 60 to 70% of all pharmaceuticals, all sales in the pharmacy channels through Chemist Warehouse. Our relationship is very, very strong. We actually have a joint venture brand with them, which obviously is great for the company, and it actually underpins our relationship with them. Yes, look, there is the fact that the relationship is with a medicinal cannabis opportunity. The chemists have shown interest in putting that medicinal cannabis opportunity in that joint venture brand with Wagner Health Liquid G6. So we have no doubt that once we get our registration approved, our products will be available through the Chemist Warehouse network.
And can you give us an idea of the breakdown of your revenue in regards to, how reliant is the company on Chemist Warehouse, and what's the kind of mix across your products?
Yeah, that's a good question. Even though Chemist Warehouse is the biggest retail in this space, I would say currently our revenue, probably about 30 to 40% of it is derived from the Chemist Warehouse network. So while we put a lot of emphasis on Chemist Warehouse, we don't want to be totally dependent on them. So we're actually branching out to the other large pharmacy retailers like Priceline, Terry White's and those sort of pharmacy channels. But importantly, most of our brands are also available in the grocery channels through Coles and Woolworths as well. But so we've got a diversified distribution network and a diversified revenue stream where we get the revenue from, which is really important.
And why medicinal cannabis? I'm a user of the product, actually. I'm a strong advocate for it. But there is plenty of products and competitors in the space. So can you talk us through your kind of Australian strategy there?
They're actually, so medicinal cannabis, the legal medicinal cannabis is only available under the SAS scheme. Currently, there is not one approval for an S3 cannabis, which means you can't go straight to a pharmacy without a doctor and picking up a prescription. And this is what the changes happen with the TGA. So there isn't any competition at the moment. What we know, the way we're tracking, we'll be one of the first few to get a product into market. And that's going to be critical because it is an over-the-counter medicine. That means there's going to be very limited shelf space. And you can't advertise and market this product being an S3 product. So if we can be one of the first ones, we're actually not going to have much competition to take advantage of this massive opportunity.
And is that a slow process to get that Q3 qualification?
The S3 qualification. It's about a 12 to 15 month process. It includes clinical trials. And there's about 5 stages to get to that point. We've completed the first 2. So we're actually now preparing to commence clinical trials towards the start of calendar year 2023.
And just finally, you've got some strong revenue estimates for 2023, which you're on track for, you said. Yep. There's fairly relatively slow growth between 21 and 22. Can you explain the slow growth and the high estimates?
So since we've launched Wellnex probably about 12 to 15 months ago, we've been bringing a lot of brands to market, probably 8 in the pace of 12 months. They take time to grow. So we launched them in October last year. It takes a good 5 to 6 months to get your distribution channels right, to get your marketing right, and then get customer acceptance to grow your sales. And also the other thing is the contract manufacturing with GSK only commenced about 3-4 months ago. So we're seeing now the uptake of that agreement reflecting in our revenue figures. So you're seeing the brands grow, and you're also seeing the contract manufacturing revenue growing as well. And that's why you're seeing the big uptake for this year financial year.
Thanks, George. That's all we have time for. Have a nice weekend. Good luck out there.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.